There is nothing worse than having a guy you're really interested in, believing that he's interested in you too, and having him suddenly go silent. You're left wondering what might be going on and what he's thinking. This video is going to help you to understand what might be going through his mind and what you can do about it. Before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know about some of the awesome content we have coming up soon. If you're unhappy with your relationship, or you're not sure how the guy you're into feels about you, I am going to have loads of videos coming out to help you soon. I don't want you to miss any of these, so please make sure that you subscribe right now. You deserve a great relationship with someone who loves you, and I want to help you build that. So anyway, back to today's topic, what a man is thinking about when he's not contacting you. Here are the main things that might be going through his mind and what you can do or what you can say. Number one is he might not be thinking about you at all. So the first option, he might not be thinking about you. It sounds kind of awful, but bear with me for a second. There is a chance that he might just be crazy busy or have a lot on his mind at the moment. He might not even realize that he's just gone silent on you, especially when you've only just started dating. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. A guy who takes things seriously and has lots going on in his life is probably also a great guy to spend time with. It's something you're attracted to. So how can you know whether this is what's going on in his mind? Well, try asking yourself what he's like when you actually do get to talk. For example, is he always tired? Does he talk about all the things he's been doing? Does he seem like he's been busy? Try asking him what he's been up to. That's a pretty good way to tell. When you understand his life, you might see his communication style in a slightly different light. Often the problem isn't actually how much he contacts you, it's what it means to you. For example, if he's not messaging you at night, you might think that it's because he doesn't care, whereas actually he's just studying late into the night for some exams. If he's super busy, it might be worth asking yourself whether your expectations are actually reasonable and whether you've communicated them honestly. If he's really busy, he might not be able to text you every day or to reply when he's at work. And he might also not know that you were hoping for more contact with him. If you're officially in a relationship, try talking about the kind of communication that you would like and ask him what he can commit to. You'll probably both have to compromise a little bit, to be honest. The second option is that he might be trying to punish you. Now, this reason for contacting you is much less positive. Some guys will use silence as a way to punish you for something that they think you've done wrong. So how can you know for sure that a guy isn't contacting you because he's trying to punish you? Well, usually it's because he starts to ignore you or give you the silent treatment after an argument. If you try to talk about him about it, he might deny it, start ignoring you, or tell you that he doesn't want to talk about it. Or he might even tell you that you should already know what you've done wrong. When he does start talking to you again, he probably won't acknowledge that he was giving you the silent treatment. If he's not contacting you as a way of punishing you, kick him to the curb. It is abusive and it is wrong. Giving you the silent treatment isn't about helping you to understand him better or work through any issues you might have between you. It's just about him making you obey. And that's not okay. Now, it might sound strange, but sometimes problems in a relationship can actually bring you closer together, provided you work on them together. You learn about each other, and there's a sense that you're both putting in the effort to build something better. By ignoring you to punish you, he's breaking the relationship down rather than building it up. The third option is that he might be trying not to seem too keen. Now, how can you tell if he's not contacting you because he's worried about seeming too keen? Often the big clue is that he's really loving and warm and fantastic when he does talk to you, but then just a bit distant when you're not together. He might even make jokes about him being too much or falling head over heels. That's him looking for some reassurance that you actually want this much attention and care from him. Now, there is another reason that he might not want to seem too keen, and that's that he might have bought into the whole dating advice, the game BS. That's not a good sign. Someone who isn't willing to express his honest feelings because he's following a set of rules or trying to manipulate someone isn't a guy you're likely to be able to build a meaningful, honest relationship with. It might be that he's worried that he's going to put you under too much pressure if he shows his true feelings, and so he's just overcorrecting. He might be scared of how much he likes you, especially if he's had bad relationships in the past. And so he just wants to take some time to process those feelings. So What can you do if this is the case? I know I always advocate open and honest communication, but that is because it works. Be honest with him about wanting more contact from him. Reach out and contact him yourself. Explain how you're feeling and be curious about how he's feeling. If he's genuine, he's going to be glad to hear it, and he's going to be willing to work with you to find something that suits both of you. If he gets scared off or tells you that you're being too much, he was probably playing games, and those guys aren't worth your time or effort. Number 4 is that he might be ghosting you. Okay, so time for another unwelcome option. It might be that he's not actually as into you as he seemed, and he's trying to end things without an awkward, or as I prefer to call it, adult conversation about what's going on. So how do you know that a guy's ghosting you? Well, to put it really bluntly, the only way you know for sure is that it goes on indefinitely. It's rude, it's hurtful, and it's an awful way to end a relationship, but it's unfortunately something that happens a lot now. Now, I do want to say something here, which is that sometimes people will look like they're ghosting, but they're actually dealing with something much deeper. They might want to reach out, but have their own struggles that make that difficult for whatever reason. Unfortunately, unless they get back in touch and tell you, there's really no way for you to know. And you can't keep your life on hold until they sort themselves out, even if that is the case. If you think they might be ghosting you, you don't have many options. The best strategy, if you still like them, is to contact them a couple of times, make sure that you leave the lines of conversation open, and then try to put them in your past. If they come back and apologize or explain, that's great, but try not to rely on it. You can get hurt that way. Sometimes he might not contact you because he doesn't realize that you're actually into him. Now, you might think that you're being really obvious, but he might be so worried about making sure that he's not being that creepy guy that he misses the really obvious signs that you're head over heels for him too. So how can you tell that that's what he's thinking? Well, the biggest sign is that he's always really delighted to hear from you, but he never reaches out for you himself. He might actually also be suffering from low self-confidence or low self-esteem. Now, this is another situation where having open and honest conversations can really help you to open up and discover what's going on. Making yourself vulnerable and being open about how you feel about him can help you to build the kind of relationship that you're hoping for. At the end of the day, you can never be entirely sure what somebody else is thinking. And spending too much time trying to work it out can be like trying to squeeze a fistful of water. If you're not sure, the best plan is always to be open and honest. If you don't get the result you're hoping for, it'll hurt, but at least it saves you from wasting time and energy on someone who isn't going to be a good prospect in the longer run. Those are some of the things a guy might be thinking when he's not contacting you and how you can deal with it. What are your thoughts? What do you worry about when he doesn't call or text? Does it help to know what might be going on in his mind? And how do you deal with it? Let me know in the comments. I always love hearing about how you're dealing with these problems. As always, please do like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the essential help that I can give you to try to find the kind of relationship that you deserve. I'll speak to you soon.